Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Monday morning edition of the Moose Minute Project. Monday, April 14th. Hope everyone is having a great day. The wind is blowing again here in southwest Wisconsin. Boy, just seems like it's never ending. It just continuously, the wind is howling right now. But it is what it is. I do see the sun, though, so that helps. So welcome to the Moose Minute Project, titled Being Consistent. In life in general, everything takes being consistent. The only part of today's political portion of it I will talk about is consistent. And unfortunately right now, we are not seeing anything that is consistent except arguing, belittling, and not working together. That is the only thing that is consistent currently. If you are a business owner, it is key to be consistent. If you are a employee, it is key to being consistent. You have to be consistent. Whether you're changing rules, whether you're changing policies, you have to be consistent. Along with training, working together on things, working through problems, you have to be consistent. If you are young and watching this, I thank you very much, but learn one thing: if you are looking to become a business owner or a manager of some form, or even just an employee, consistency is key. You cannot have employees handed a policy, they sign it, and then 2 days later or a week later or 2 weeks later, that changes. And then something else comes along or another issue comes up. So we're going to change everything to correct that issue. And then a couple weeks later, now we're not enforcing that. Or if we do enforce it, it's totally different than what was said before. Consistency is key, and it's a must. You have to be consistent when it comes to enforcing your rules, whether it's if people are supposed to be to work on time and then they're consistently not, or if they're leaving early, whatever it may be. And it doesn't matter if they're good. If they're supposedly really good employees, you wouldn't have to worry about it now, would you? They would be there. They would be on time. They would be there to work. They would do their stuff because they're good employees. When you finally find yourself getting through the hard times by enforcing rules, even though no matter how hard it's going to be, the really good employees will notice. They will take notice. And they'll say, hey, the boss is doing something. This is good. Otherwise, all they do is see people show up late, go home early, whatever it may be, and nothing happens. So then pretty soon, you're going to have people that show up late, go home early, talk bad about everybody, whatever it may be. If you have cancer inside the building, inside your work environment, it has to be addressed and it has to be taken care of. And if you are passive about it, you're in trouble. So either find somebody that's going to manage that department or your store, whatever it may be, and become consistent. That if it is one thing that everybody talks about when it is things not getting handled, or all of a sudden things blow up and then get handled, and then it's ignored for a while and again it blows up, and people these days are not going to tolerate that kind of environment. They need consistency. They need things to be handled immediately and followed. That's just how it has to happen. If your business cannot take that or does not do that, don't be surprised when the general public starts saying, boy, it's too bad. I've been out of the business now 3 years. I've been with Jacob here, and I've been out of the power sports world that way, as far as in a sales manager aspect. And I'm surprised at how many people, because it used to be before, if you'd go to the boss with something, and it still probably is, oh, Chris, everybody talks and everybody has that a feeling. Well, if you have that take on things, it is only going to get worse. There is plenty of competition out here that, whether it's you making pizzas to plungers to whatever it may be, you have plenty of competition. And those that are really good at being consistent, on top of training, on top of handling the cancers in the building, are the ones that are going to win. They are the ones that are going to move ahead, because otherwise you're going to turn into a dealer that sells into, price discounts, whatever it may be, to get people in the door, because the other things are chasing them away. So be consistent in everything you do. Be consistent in how you run your business. And I refer to the power sports world quite a bit because that's what I did. I've been involved in it since 97. So that's how long I've been doing power sports stuff. So that's my realm. The other portion I did was managed in radio for a while and that kind of stuff. So, I was the news director there, and we talked about things, and that company handled issues right away. And they were very consistent. So you have to stay consistent. I guess when you work at the environments that I've worked in, the casino was just basically, you were at the mercy of a lot of people that got away with a lot of things. Was some of it my problem? Probably. I was very young at the time, and I did not probably do the right things. I'll say that. I was very young, doing a lot of dumb shit then, but I will tell you there were numerous times that I got railed for things that were not my fault. And it was rules that they just wanted to make. And they could. Kind of like where we are in Wisconsin now with you don't have to have a reason to get rid of somebody. You don't have to have that support to get rid of anybody. You could just let them go. But in the also environment we're in right now, you really can't afford to do that if they are good employees. If you have bad employees, you have to be consistent, either working with them to draw up a plan and then be consistent working on that plan. If you are a manager, sit down and talk to everyone involved in your group and figure out. And I strived to make sure my guys and gals were, and I actually only had guys at Jay's when I was there the last, but I really strived to take care of them. Was there other aspects that I struggled with? Yep. A lot of emotion, a lot of things, but my sales crew was my focus. And I wanted to make sure that they were, and if we had issues, and there were veterans guys that were in sales a long time, but I was consistent. And I was consistent with making sure they were doing what they were supposed to do. Because you have to. In the realm of, if you were a vice president, I don't care what you were, man, what title you had, director to, whatever. to manager to assistant manager. If you're in a manager and you have one below you, it is vital that you pass on that information and you train them to where they can take over your job. And you're like, well, Chris, I don't want to train somebody to take over my job, because then, no, yeah, you need to make sure. And if you're doing your job, you don't have to worry about being replaced if you are doing everything that you need to do. So that's where I'm at today. I've just noticed so much inconsistency with everything anymore, where people are banging their drums, doing all of that stuff, and then yet they let other things slide. They want to point fingers. They want to blame. They want to say this. They want to say that. They're trying to convince you that this and this is bad, but yet ours is not. So if you are going to point fingers and you are going to blame others, make sure you are really evaluating what you are doing. Make sure you are being consistent. And I think that's where we all struggle. We all struggle being extremely consistent. You know, it's like this show, Monday through Friday. I have made it my goal to be consistent Monday through Friday. It's going to be close to this time or around that, depends on when I get here, but that's where we're at. I have a lot to offer as far as things go. I've experienced a lot of things, and some people don't like my viewpoint. That's okay. So, as long as we all can get along, it'll be okay. And we can be friends even though we don't necessarily see eye to eye. But you have to be consistent. So, have a great day. That's where I'm going to leave it today, is make it your goal to be consistent. If you are especially the owner of a business, you have to be consistent. And you have to not worry about being friends. You have to be an employer. That is the other key, big key to success. So, have a great day, guys, everybody. I'm headed into work. Sun is out here in southwest Wisconsin. Like I said, it's very windy. You could fly a kite pretty easy today. But really take goal at being consistent. And we will talk soon. I got big news coming this week, too, about my mom's bowling tournament. I've got a new sponsor. I'll know more at the end of the week. And it's going to be pretty cool. So we will talk about that when I get all the information. But, yeah, that is the other thing that I'm very consistent on, is my mom's memory. I want to focus on that. I want to work on Alzheimer's, finding a goal and some kind of answers, because it is a god-awful disease to watch somebody go through. So, have a great day. I will be back tomorrow morning with another edition of the Moose Minute Project. And as always, take time to bless somebody's day today.